Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aisyatun Sakinah binti Mat Harun and I'm from BE 201. So today, I will be presenting about the topic poverty and unemployment in the Philippines. The Philippines is an archipelagic country in Southeast Asia and it is in Western Pacific Ocean. It consists more than 7,000 islands. I choose the Philippines because it consisted of many population and some of them is the richest, however some of them is the poorest. The population in the Philippines is around 1,007 million recorded in year 2020. Among a quarter of the total population live as the poorest in the country, and 3/4 of them live in the rural areas. Among them are farmers, fishermen, and also agricultural workers. Before I start explaining about the poverty and unemployment in Philippines, let's watch a video.
A blend of Spanish colonialism and Southeast Asian tradition make this country unique. Unfortunately, poverty in the Philippines is more prominent than other countries in Southeast Asia, with a great deal of the population still living below the poverty line. While poverty is generally higher in rural areas, urban poverty has been on the rise in recent years. Unemployed and low-income migrants who are unable to afford housing are key contributors to the poverty rate. Natural disasters and an underdeveloped agricultural sector play a big factor as well.
What is poverty? Poverty is not having adequate material possession or income for the fundamental needs of an individual. What is the needs of an individual? It consists of social, economic, and also political elements. Poverty is also happen when an individual cannot meet a minimum level of living standard in their area. Next is unemployment. Unemployment means by the individuals who are employable and seek for a job, however, they are unable to find a job. They are the persons above a specified age, however, they are not being in a paid employment. According to a researcher, there is a strong evidence that unemployment increases the risk of poverty and contributes to inequality. For example, when a person is unemployed, he didn't get paid, so it will increase him to be poorer and get into the poverty. Generally, poverty and unemployment link to each other because when a person is in poverty state, they cannot afford to study, and because of that, they don't have skills and cannot get employed. So when they are not employed, they will get into poverty once again. There are 3 types of poverty in the Philippines, which are relative poverty, rural poverty, and also urban poverty. Relative poverty, it means that they don't get sufficient goods and services through the support of money and resources, and this affect them to live in an insufficient amount of goods. Second, rural poverty. Rural poverty is when there are shocks and natural disasters and it develops an underdeveloped agricultural sector, and it makes the population higher and the economic growth will be moderate. This type of poverty focuses on rural areas which their living sources came from the nature and also agriculture. The third type of poverty is urban poverty. They also called as urban poor, where there is emergence of slums and squatter settlements. And this type of poverty, they live in urban area. However, they cannot afford their living expenses as much as the urban population are. Next, we move on to the types of unemployment. Types of unemployment in Philippines, there are 3 also. There are cyclical unemployment, frictional unemployment, and also structural unemployment. Cyclical unemployment happens when the demand of the goods and services fall and the business cannot run and they need to fire the workers to cut the cost. Second, frictional unemployment. This happens when a Filipino has to migrate to get a better job. This one is a good choice where the Filipinos can experience new thing and leave the less good job. The third one is structural unemployment. It happens when there are shifts in the demand among the industries. This is quite same with cyclical unemployment. Why does poverty happens? First, it is because they are poor in economic growth. Second, the low in education level. And third, rapid population growth. This is because Philippines display a rapid trend towards reducing poverty. This kind of trend, it affects the progress and quality of employment within the amount per in the country. But because of the trend, it creates the chance of stable people to be poor due to the case of the movement. Second, low education level of the Filipinos. Moreover, the available jobs are so few, so the employers force the educated workers to take unskilled jobs and work as low-paid laborers. So for the unskilled and uneducated citizen, they have no more jobs to do. The third reason the Philippines is in the poverty state is because of rapid population growth. This is because when the population grows rapidly, it increases the rise in the labor force and the creation of the available jobs becomes lower. Next, the reason of unemployment in the Philippines. First, it is because of oversupply of graduates. Second, it is high demands in skills requirement. And the third is because there are overpopulation. It is similar to the other countries that oversupply of graduates give impact in the unemployment. This is because when there are many graduates, sometimes it affects certain field of growth in the economy. This is because when there are more graduates are supplied, the lower rate of the vacancies become. Next, the reasons of unemployment is because of the high demand in skills requirement. This is because when the workforce possesses skills for jobs that are high in demand with no consideration. Because sometimes the workers are eligible in the education, but somehow because there are fresh graduates, they have no experience to do the job. The last reason is overpopulation, which give a big impact of unemployment in the Philippines. When there are a fewer jobs to support a large number of people, then the unemployment state will be increased. The last but not least, the effects of poverty and unemployment in the Philippines. Okay, the first effect, it makes the rural population of the Filipinos become larger. Second, it increases pressure on natural resources. And the third one, adults will be physically and mentally abusive towards the children. When the rural population become larger, each Filipino will have living problems that can lead to hunger death. They will have less living space, available resources become fewer, and also they will even reduce the quality of their life. Second, it will increase pressure on natural resources. This is because when there are a large population in the rural area, it will affect the resources like land, water, forest, and also animals. Okay, the last effect that can happen, the adults will be physically and mentally abusive towards the children. When they are stressed, they will make the children as the places and to release their stress. And also, the father will also let and sometimes they force the children to work. For the conclusion, the industries and also the government need to develop programs to overcome the poverty and unemployment problems in the Philippines. This will help the population, especially the poor, uneducated children, and also older people.